I got to move on from that, man. I got Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Stick with us. We are not done yet. We have a guest that's coming on. But before we bring him in, we got to shout out one of the last great and true Redskins that came home and signed a one-day contract so he could retire, a part of this organization. Ryan Kerrigan retires a Redskin. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said Redskin because he's the last true one, the great one, our all-time sack leader. And you know what? I got to say this, Will. When we drafted him first, I didn't know, really who he was. He is kind of the epitome of what you want. Almost 100 sacks. Always, good, a leader in the locker room, vocal, good guy. They were talking about he just did a golf tournament, recently to raise funds and things. This is, just a good, upstanding guy and somebody that you really need in the locker room. I'm so glad he came back here. I hated to see him go. I talked to you guys about that last year. I was like, look, we can pay this man some money to keep him here, even if he's just going to sit on the sidelines. You know what I mean? Because, look, he was with Philly. Philly's pass rush wasn't great last year, but he didn't get much time. So, you know what I mean? So what are your thoughts? What are your memories, man? Ryan Kerrigan, my guy. What you got, man?
You know what? For as much as we criticize this organization, they finally did something right here. And that's what makes me feel good. Yeah. As much as they botched the Sean Taylor stuff and everything else when it comes to former players or whatever, they did this good. They brought him back. They let him, retire in the burgundy and gold. He's sticking around practice, doing some coaching, learning does he want to be into coaching. They're saying let him stick around. Like that's, you're letting one of your all-time greats be around the facility. Yeah. And I think that, they've talked about how important that should be, how as stupid as it is that we have homecoming weekends, it's all about getting the alumni of the players back. And you've got one now, working with these guys. And they also talked about, could he be some type of calming influence on some of our young defensive linemen that they didn't have last year? So I love it. From looking at, like you said, he was, I think, the second number one pick that Shanahan had, and I think Trent Williams was the first, and then the next year we got Ryan Kerrigan, and I knew nothing about him coming out of Purdue. I can't say I did, but he was, like you said, he was the perfect, especially we got him in the mid-teens, perfect first-round pick where he's going to be one of those good – he was a good to very good player for us. He's going to be in the Ring of Fame. Like you said, he's our all-time leader in sacks. But also with it, he had reliability and he was steady all the time. He didn't have his ups and downs. He didn't have the Preston Smith where he has no sacks for 6 games and then 4, and then no sacks for 6 games and then 3, and he ends the season. You're like, oh, it was a good year stat-wise. He was just always steady out there. So he was a very good player for us. He wasn't great. Yeah. But he was sound and he was reliable, and so he was good. And I started looking on eBay for jerseys. Not gonna lie.
Yes, you have to. Yes, you absolutely have to. Oh, this was the guy. He was somebody that you always. I remember when it was him and we had Rakpo, and I was like, oh my, like we should be dominating the league. Like these guys are amazing. So, he's a great part of the team, and absolutely my favorite part was after he got a sack. Everybody knows his sack celebration. With the leg out there. For those of you who don't know, I know my WWE fans know, that's the Shawn Michaels, the HBK. And I love how he paid homage to him, man, and seeing it so many times because he was the one that did it. He was getting the sacks, so he was always in these last 10, 15 years where it's kind of been dim. You had the 2012, you had maybe a year or two with Kirk Cousins, but it's been rough. He has always been a bright spot. Mm-hmm. He's always been somebody that you can look to. And you're absolutely right that, maybe that was the difference in that 2020 year that he was in the locker room. And, and he kind of kept everybody level. And last year was a little bit different where even in off season, people were starting to talk and chirp and da-da-da-da. And maybe that stuff doesn't happen if you have that leader in the locker room saying,
right,
hey,
yep,
relax. So I love that. But, you know, look, guys, shout out to the people saying, hey, guys, shout out to my guy Colin saying Ryan Kerrigan is always a stalwart of the defense. No matter how bad the team was, he was always getting sacks. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.